back to Wake Up WA. Now, we've been extremely happy and proud to have a lot of very talented women on the show recently.
We have, yes, indeed. Because women are wonderful, but men are wonderful as well. Today we have the the winner of the Momentum's Women's Forum, Most Inspiring Man. Now, this man has overcome some amazing hurdles, some big hurdles, and he's also helped develop a model to do with depression. It's brain depletion, I think, model. So we'll hear everything about that. Now, my voice hopefully will hold out through this whole interview, but welcome to Wake Up WA. Yeah. And I'll try not to ask too many of the questions.
So, Peter Symons, Most Inspirational Man of 2008 in Western Australia. How does that feel when they read your name out?
No, I was very honoured. I think I'm a bit lucky to get it. I'm not sure who I was up against, but yeah, it was a great privilege to get it. So yeah.
I'd imagine a lot of people with Barbara McNaughton's forum.
Yeah, well, she's well connected, Barbara, so,
so
she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, they don't go giving out awards like this to any slackers. But so why you then? What's
well, it's a bit surreal to get it because really I'm a nobody, but I suppose I'm seen as somebody who's had some medical problems, and I've been lucky enough to survive them and hopefully go on and do a few things since then. So I think I was lucky to survive what I have, but also lucky to get this award as well. So it's just fallen in my lap.
Now, well, Anita, I'm trying to save you here from having your voice, but I feel so sorry for you, poor thing.
That's right. 3 brain hemorrhages and brain surgery twice. That's what you've overcome.
Yeah.
Now, has that changed you in any way?
I think it has to. There's something wrong with it if it doesn't, but I was a fit kid when I had the first brain hemorrhage, and all of a sudden I was the sickest kid in school, so I was far more empathetic to people with problems.
Yeah.
I've considered my mortality on those, 5 occasions, and so now I can talk to people who've got problems, people with cancer and things like that, so I'm a different person because of it. And you can talk to people about different issues in their life, and every now and again somebody says thank you. So I think I'm lucky to have those issues because they've been privileges, really.
It always amazes me when people go through tribulations like that and come out the other end saying how lucky they are. And I guess it might have to give you a new lease of life, and you have to appreciate second by second after things like that.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
Obviously, whether it's directly connected or not, I guess you can probably tell me better than most. But after getting out of that third brain hemorrhage, you've then gone into suffering from near suicidal depression.
Yeah.
What was tougher?
Well, I've had 3 brain hemorrhages, brain surgery twice. On a scale of 1 to 100, I'd rate that as 30, and I rate suicidal depression as 100. There's nothing tougher than that. The last 2 months, I didn't know what I was suffering from, and to be like that, the last 2 months, I was going to get some condition, maybe cancer or something, and die. I was going to do something about it myself because I couldn't go on. I think I'm reasonably tough. I've survived things, but there was nothing tougher than that.
Wow.
And was it just the physical, I spent 6 months in hospital at one time, and that was hard work for me, and I got to the point, I just don't want to be here anymore, just let me go. Or was it more than that?
I think I was a bit depressed when I went into hospital, trying to do too much, and you've got a family, and, you've got to do sport and this, that and the other. So you push yourself and you deplete your neurotransmitters. Then in hospital, part of care was to wake me every hour for 5 days. Drove me nuts, and I couldn't sleep properly after that. And then I progressed down a track I think I was already going, but I progressed down it much faster, and I spent 6 months wallowing. I think I would have gradually gone down that track without the brain hemorrhage, but the brain hemorrhage and the aftercare and the anaesthetic and the brain surgery just caused me to get there. And actually, again, it was a salvation because eventually I found out what I had. I could came right fairly quickly, and then I could help other people. So once again, it was a tragedy, but a salvation again.
Wow.
I can't stress enough, and we were at the Men in Black ball for depression things as well. I can't stress enough to viewers that if you or someone you know and love has the symptoms of suffering from depression, do something about it. Yeah. My youngest brother, the happiest man on the face of the planet, went into a little sinkhole, and we were all really worried, but medication, on the right track, a bit of counselling, and bang, straight away he's back to his old self. And I can't stress enough that there is options out there for people. Now then, not only did you just sort of pull yourself through your 3 brain hemorrhages and a couple of brain surgery operations and suicidal depression and get yourself right, what do you go and do then? You swim the English Channel twice and climb Mount Kilimanjaro. What's that all about?
Well, people could wonder.
That's a bit overkill, isn't it? You sort of just overshot the mark just
Well, it's basically a celebration of living. I mean, my aunt said, "What are you trying to prove to yourself, Peter?" And I said, "I'm nothing. I'm happy to be alive. This is a celebration of life." So I like to swim. I picked a good friend. He could really swim well to do a Giro swim with. Loved it. Really enjoyed it. We got the record. And then the next year we did Mount Kilimanjaro. That was good fun as well. I mean, I'm happy to be alive, and I love doing things like that. You get prepared, you do it with a mate, and it's something to treasure, and you meet lots of people. So they were good
Well,
fun.
congratulations.
Well, you went
on
from
that.
being an
That's
inspiration to being really
fantastic.
depressing for me now. You make me feel like I've
But
underachieved.
you know what? But that's not it. You've also helped develop something called the brain fuel depletion, which sort of helps with depression. Can you explain a little bit about that model?
That is my only achievement. I mean, the other stuff was a bit of fun, but when they told me I was depressed,
It's
I said, well,
modest,
how come I don't feel depressed? I've got all the symptoms. I want to kill myself, but I don't feel depressed. So depression is the name of a condition. It's one of the symptoms, but they picked that particular symptom to name this condition, and some people are like me, feel terrible, but don't actually feel depressed. So I said, how can I self-diagnose? I'm a veterinarian, so I said, how can I self-diagnose this condition if it doesn't make sense? So we have reinterpreted the information. We call it brain fuel depletion, and it describes the underlying cause. Your neurotransmitters drop away. We call them brain fuels, and adrenaline kicks in, and those two pillars describe all the symptoms. Most of the symptoms are due to adrenaline, the anxiety and the panic attacks, the insomnia, the anger from adrenaline, the fight part of adrenaline, and the remoteness and withdrawal from the flight part.
So it's an interesting point. So they've chosen one specific part of the symptoms, being the fact that you're depressed, but that sort of applying that to the whole problem, I guess. Also, then would help people not to be able to self-diagnose.
Exactly, it's a symptom, one of the many. There's if it affects the brain, it affects every part of the body. So there's a huge number of symptoms. Depression is one of them. I actually was suicidal, but I didn't have that particular condition. So it might suit others, but there's a lot like me. Anxiety is probably a much more common symptom than depression. And there's physical problems as well, and people say, I've got a physical problem, and they say, take some happy pills. But you've got to understand how the neurotransmitters drop away, adrenaline kicks in, and it causes physical problems. Then you say, right, I do need an antidepressant. It makes sense. So it's we've got a simple model, but it gives people a lot of comfort, because this doesn't need to be any more complex than what it already is.
And how have you received it? Has it been well accepted?
Yep. You talk to psychiatrists, and they're all in the depression model, but you talk to people and they say, oh, now I understand. Brain fuel depletion, I've depleted my neurotransmitters, and people say, oh, actually I know I'm depleting my neurotransmitters, the boss has given me problems, I've got marital problems, this, that and the other. They know they're stressed, and it describes how these stresses deplete your brain fuels. Wow. So I think it's fairly simple, and we also say that some of the high achievers out there, perhaps like your brother, we call them big brain fuel users. It's actually a mark of honour. Jeff Gallup and Winston Churchill and Petrea Thomas, all these people have had this condition. Yes. They burn through a lot of brain fuels because they do a lot. They compete at the Olympics, or they're politicians.
Oh yeah, I think a big problem in our society, I suppose, especially for blokes, is that it's a sign of weakness if you get unwell. Now, I think, especially something like depression, where it's generally giving people. They're worried about other people around them. They're trying to make sure they don't let anyone down.
Carers are classic. Doers, carers, perfectionists, it all lead into your brain fuels. You push yourself too hard. My mother was a carer, died at 63 from renal cell carcinoma, so she worried too much about everybody else. There's people like that.
And I think this is obviously going to make the whole concept of self-diagnosis a lot more accessible as well, because you've given it a pretty cool name.
Yeah.
Instead of brain fuel, how's your brain fuel going? Yeah, a bit depleted. Let's go top it up. And what a fantastic way to make the issue more accessible and more discussable as well. So what does the future hold for the incidence of this condition then?
Well, there's 1 million Australians already. There's going to be 4 million, 20% of the population. The worst incidence is 18 to 24-year-old girls. Do they get it at 18? No, they develop it with all the body image and the Paris Hilton complex and all that other sort of stuff. So there's 4 million Australians going to have it, and I think it'll be more. So there's a lot out there. Everybody knows people with this condition. You've got friends and families. They're out there. You look hard enough, you'll see it.
You just need to know what you're looking for.
I think it's fantastic. Brainfueldepletion.org to find out more.
Yeah, there's a bit of work being done on the website, so give it another week if you don't rush there this morning.
So the under construction sign's still hanging out. Go to wakeupwa.com.au in the meantime to find links and things. Yes,
round of applause.
Not worthy. Yeah.
Peter, fantastic.
Good to be in the company of the most inspirational man in WA, and you've certainly inspired us this morning, and great to see you wearing your Sydney 2000 tie as well.
Yeah, no, it's that time
I was going to ask you what you've done to your finger, but we'll cover that in the break because we've run out of time, unfortunately. Peter Symons, thank you so much for joining us, and look, good luck into the future.
Okay, thank you.
If you've got any family and friends who you think may be suffering depression, ask them how they are. And really ask them and wait for the answer. How are you? It's a very, very powerful question if it's asked and the response is listened to.
Exactly.
That was the advice we got from the men in Black Ball. Don't go anywhere. We're on Wake Up WA. We're going to try and inspire you when we come back with a little bit more cooking from Beethoven's. Don't go anywhere.